Hey folks, I'm going to very briefly show you how to use some NoodleTools and do some of that information today. This is to really help you get through it and share with your group if you need to, or to insert any kind of resources that you may have moving forward. You will want to use this from the very beginning and upload your sources as you find them, because otherwise it's going to be really hard to get everything in at the very end. So once you're on NoodleTools, it's noodletools.com. You hit log in with Google, or sign in with Google. Do not sign up. You log in with Google. Otherwise, you will have to start completely over. Choose your Google account. In my case, I accidentally logged out, so you got to put in your password. Or it should just go ahead and just go straight in. If not, put in your password. And then it should take you to a project like this. I did a test run earlier, so ignore this one. But for most of you, you probably have not started a project yet for doing your citation. So I'm going to do a new project, and I'm going to name it NHD 2020. If you plan on using doing any kind of history work in college, they recommend doing Chicago or Turabian style. It's actually a lot easier in my opinion. But if you would like to just do what most of the high school is doing, you can do MLA, and then you want to do advanced just because you're kind of getting to that point in your schooling where you should be able to do that kind of thing. So once you're in there, it's going to kind of take you to your dashboard. Here, if you would like to, you all have already written your historical questions. So if you want to type out a couple of your historical questions, you can type them here. We have not gotten to your thesis yet, but once you have your thesis, you're more than welcome to put it there. And then the biggest thing here is if you are working with other people within your group, you add students, and then you have to type in their full email address. So, and remember this, it's at students, plural. So make sure that you get that information from them, and you want to make them a full collaborator so that they can come in and add their sources as they find them as well. The biggest thing here, though, is your sources tab up here. I'm not too worried about your note cards or your paper. You always want to do sources. So in order to kind of help you get through some of this information, you want to get through new source. Let's actually go pull up an article. So we'll say history. Let's find something interesting to read about. But kind of while that's going on, just while that's loading, you can see that there's a whole bunch of different options that you can choose up here. I will say that in a lot of cases, most of yours will be a website of some kind. You will see that there's newspaper articles. There's a web page up here. In some cases, you might be finding photos or illustrations or photos or images. Let me see what else. In some cases, you might have legislation or an interview. So we will kind of do. You can kind of look through these. If you're confused about where yours belongs, just let me know, and I'll be happy to add it wherever we are. Since we are doing a history.com, this one in this case would be a web page. So let's see if I can find something interesting to read about. Let's do resources for change. Well, see if we can find an article. Just kidding. How about this? This day in history. So today is September 18th. I'll just say for some reason this has something to do with my topic, and actually, for some of you, may be able to. Lays the Capitol cornerstone. There you go. So apparently the Capitol was started to be built today, September 18th, 1793. Great. So if I'm doing a web page, I'll click this one right here, and then I'll start filling up as much information as I possibly can. So the URL is this right here. Make sure I'm not missing anything else. So the URL is right there. The date of publication, let's see if it says it down here anywhere. Chances are with most websites it won't, but this is the most important one anyways. Most recent date access, you'll put today's date, which would be September 18th. So, and then 2020. And then you're going to just try to do as much as you can. There shouldn't be any authors or anything on there for this case. In this case, the web page itself is history.com. So on and so forth. The name of the website is also history.com. Make sure I did that right. Oh, actually, I lied. This would be Today in History, or This Day in History. All right, history.com. And the biggest thing to remember is if you're looking through this, the only thing that you technically need to fill out is the place where there's a red asterisk. So history.com is the biggest thing. I don't know why the URL is specifically not, but you definitely want to include that URL in the very specific one. And then the biggest thing is you will have to do an annotation for whatever it is. I will get you your questions later on for what you need to be answering. But just have a general idea. This source helped me understand when the Capitol was started to be built. So, again, you will be able to come back and do this no matter what, save. And then the last thing you're going to want to do once you've done this is this, again, this will make your life so much easier if you just do it now. Let me just make sure I tag. This is a secondary source. If you tag the things as you find them, it'll make your life easier because you'll eventually want to export this, print as Google Docs. Actually, I think I need to do, you want to sort it by primary, secondary as well. Because eventually you're going to want to export it, and if you do it by primary and secondary, it'll make your life easier, but we'll get to that a little bit later on. But like I said, I more than anything wanted to show you very quickly how to start making one of these NoodleTools entries. Sorry that was a little bit longer than it was supposed to be. Sorry it was a little confusing. If there's any questions, make sure that you ask me.